Yesterday in the pits here in San Diego, everyone was treated to quite a sight. This is the Cellular One unlimited hydroplane, which went through a horrible accident 2.5 months ago in Madison, Indiana. Its driver, Steve Reynolds, a fractured skull, but is back.
My baby.
You can see how much these drivers love their boats, even when things like this happen. July 5th, 1987, Madison, Indiana, when Reynolds was involved in by far the most horrifying accident in the history of this sport. What's amazing is the doctors say that you're about at the 6-month point, and it's only 2 months after the accident. You're 4 months ahead of schedule in your recovery.
Yeah, that's a positive attitude for you.
Many people have said, too, that cockpit, the canopy on it, it literally saved your life.
It did. It really did. Really saved my life. I'm a firm believer in the canopy for unlimited racing, and I think that every boat should have one. I think it should be mandatory on.
I know it's probably driving you crazy not driving today. Are you going to drive again, do you think?
Oh, yeah. I'll be there next year, but it'll be a good 5 or 6 months before I'm ready. And I know it.
Even if, say, Jim Lucero or crew chief says, well, maybe not.
No. If Jim Lucero says no, or Steve Woomer, the owner, says no, then Steve Reynolds won't drive.
You can always be a television commentator.
I thought about that, too.
Oh, I know you have. Good to have you here, Steve.
Good to be here, buddy. Thanks.
Steve Reynolds, in one capacity or another, I'm sure will remain in racing. Here's Ron Snyder getting ready for Heat 3A. Snyder is among the top 6 at this stage, as you see, with 450 points. But there's the rundown with Woods, Kropfeld, Evans, Snyder, and Hopp. And here's the man who has to make all the tough decisions, Lee Shaniff, chief referee, and we've been told that he's informed the drivers that it's a little tricky out there in terms of wind. Again, 5 boats. We have only 2 more preliminaries, then the run for the gold and the money, the final for the Gold Cup. As you see, George Woods on the right. Here comes Ron Snyder for the start. And the Budweiser already going by. Great start for Jim Kropfeld of the Budweiser, Steve.
Actually, a great start by all 3 drivers, but the Budweiser's boat speed takes over right here. Jim Kropfeld had his nose right on the line. He's going for it again.
One thing we've noticed about the turbine drivers, both Hanauer and Kropfeld, and Scott Pierce for that matter, staying way outside when they can and keep the boat speed. Look out, the Budweiser's gone over. Jim Kropfeld and the Miss Budweiser has blown over in the back chute just coming out of the turn.
Don, the boat is upside down, but remember, Jim is in an enclosed cockpit. He has oxygen. Hopefully, he's okay.
Flares have been fired. The flags are out. The race obviously stopped. All the boats returning to the pits.
Upside down. No.
Hanauer back in the pits and everyone else just getting word of what has happened. Obviously safety first, even though these are all competitors. The boat, and with one of the divers, that should be Eric Seelau, the head paramedic for the Unlimited Racing Commission. He's going up now. He'll pull the hatch off. There it goes. That's the hatch in the bottom of the boat under the cockpit. He'll now pull the legs. There are loops on the race suit, Steve, on Kropfeld as he pulls them out. There are his feet.
One of the concerns with the canopied boats, how to get the driver out if it's upside down. The hatch was added to the bottom. It's being used right here. The crew very concerned. Ronnie Brown, the crew chief, all they can do now is wait. The preliminary indications now coming in that Jim may be in good shape.
We understand his vital signs are stable, and we can only hope for the best. Steve, let's go back to the accident. The second blowover for the Budweiser in 1987.
And a hard one to explain, Don. The blowover is the worst accident in unlimited or any kind of hydroplane racing. It usually takes place at the high-speed end of the chute. Jim has just come by the exit pin. Now he starts up. The boat does not correct. It gets a puff of air underneath, and he's gone. Now, the good part of this is, when you watch the boat land, the real deceleration is yet to come. Right here, the boat will actually land transom first, which means Jim was pressed back into the seat rather than thrown forward, and hopefully that's a good sign, and we'll see that he may have come out of this okay.
Meanwhile, it is still very quiet here at Mission Bay. Welcome back to San Diego. As you see, the Budweiser has been towed back to the pits. The immediate dilemma facing the crew is to get this boat right side up, which they will do with the use of a crane, but it's not an easy job. Todd Yarling and his wife Tanya watching on. The news in regards to Jim Kropfeld, the driver, is very good. He is going to be fine. Banged up his shins a little, his neck is a little sore, but he's going to be okay. From there, we moved on to the restart of Heat 3A. Of course, only 4 boats instead of 5 with the loss of the Budweiser. And Mr. Ron Snyder was the man who capitalized. The Miss Madison, the wholesome Miss Madison, went on to get to the victory, but it was the Boy Oberto with George Woods in the lead until going into the last turn on lap number 6. Engine problems, he stalled a bit, and that enabled Ron Snyder to come around to get the victory. So he picked up the 400 points, and then it was George Woods picking up 300, and both boats easily making it in to the final heat. The results: 850 for the day for Snyder. Woods at a solid 700. Jerry Hopp with 394, right on that bubble. And then Mitch Evans at 694.
I'm on a new boat like everybody else got.
Looked like your famous Ron Snyder flying start and then wait for the first place guy to slow down a little.
Well, George has got a little more than what I got today, and I don't understand it. Tri-Cities, I was able to pull him, and, you know, we didn't really get to run in Syracuse. But Oberto's got their act together today, and I don't know what the problem was, but if he wouldn't have died in the water there, I'd have never caught him.